Today's khutba was on applying action to knowledge. Dear brothers and sisters, this week's khutba followed on from last week's reminder on the importance of acquiring knowledge as Muslims. As important as the khutba was last week, it was only the first part of a two-part reminder. See, with knowledge must come action, and that is the focus of the reminder this week. After all, what good is knowledge without any action to follow it up? It can be said that if between knowledge and action there is a gap to be found, then there is hypocrisy. The Prophet ﷺ taught us the Holy Quran, which is the knowledge, but his life was a practical example of that knowledge that he delivered to us all. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ also were live examples of the message of Islam, in that their actions and behavior was the practical application of the message of Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be pleased with them all. Such was the importance of this point that when the ayahs of the Quran were being taught to other Muslims, they were done in blocks of 10 ayat so that people could recite, remember, and action upon the ayahs that they learned. This was the importance laid upon the practical applications of the Holy Quran. The Prophet ﷺ warned us of the act of hypocrisy in numerous traditions and hadith, but the one that is conveyed to us today as a reminder is that which is translated to have the Prophet ﷺ say, "A man will be brought and put in the hellfire, and he will go round and round the hellfire like a donkey of a plough grinding mill," in that he's going round in a circle. "And all the people of hellfire will gather round him and will say to him, 'Oh, so-and-so, did you not used to order others for good and forbid them from evil?' That man will then turn around and say, 'I used to order others to do good, but I myself never used to do it. And I used to forbid others to do evil, while I myself used to do evil.'" Dear brothers and sisters, we need to remind ourselves and each other about the importance of applying knowledge to action. Although this lesson is applicable for all Muslims, it is especially important for us because of the fact that we are surrounded by people who only see Islam by what the media is telling them. They are being fed a deluge of misinformation about a religion that is peace, beauty, harmony for the better of man and for the better of society. It is our responsibility to deliver the practical example of Islam to counteract what they see. After all, if they are being shown this negative imagery of Islam, but their neighbour is friendly, kind, charitable, and a great example of a Muslim, then there is no amount of media focus that can dilute the message given from a direct interaction with a Muslim. With that being said, what follows then are three practical applications as an example that we can all begin with today to help apply action to knowledge. Number one, awareness. This is about actively going out of your way to make people aware of the truth of Islam. There are a number of ways to achieve this, but the ones that come to mind are the ones that we are directly involved through this masjid. For example, we've been inviting local primary schools on visits to the masjid for children to find out more about Islam. Get involved in that. Or projects where volunteers run RE lessons in high school students in schools where the topic is about Islam. Number two, charity. This is in many ways the easiest. We have clothes bank outside the masjid, we have food collection boxes inside the masjid for the needy. It's a great habit to form and even better to pass on to our children. But on top of this, there are projects running right now by Muslims in Manchester to feed the homeless twice a week in the city centre, to donate blood that is so desperately needed, to visit sick children in hospitals with presents, and to visiting terminally ill patients in hospices, and soon we're going to be visiting the elderly in nursing homes. All projects set up and run by Muslims in a practical, active demonstration of Islam. These projects are by the Myriad Foundation, so Google them or ask via website or Facebook for more info. And number three, as ambassadors. Dear brothers and sisters, out of the three, this point is the one to take home with you. We need to remind ourselves that we are ambassadors for Islam. We need to be aware of this role of ours and remind ourselves that whether we like it or not, whenever we are in the public, we are in the spotlight. Whether it's the beard, the headscarf, or some other signal, people will look and judge us as Muslims. Therefore, we cannot afford to be mindless in our conduct, as we may be inadvertently passing on some wrong message about Muslims. Instead, simple things like smiling, offering to assist, being talkative all go a long way. And with this point comes a reminder upon the need to keep a self-audit of one's actions and conduct in the day. How does one do that practically? After all, the older you get, the busier life seems to get. One tip is to keep a journal or a diary by the bedside and aim to summarize the day in words at the end of the day. This will help you recollect your actions and intentions throughout the day, as well as improve oneself for the day ahead. Dear brothers and sisters, as Muslims, our mission statement ought to be to work for the greater good of humanity by sharing the message of Islam and through sincere and dedicated efforts to make a valuable contribution to society. Let's aim to do that by practically engaging ourselves in some active application of Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to apply action through knowledge. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from the punishment of hypocrisy, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward us for our efforts in the application of knowledge. Ameen. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.